Hello, everybody. This is a follow-up card reading from the episode of the Truer podcast called Messages for the New Era of Honoring Yourself. And I'm going to use this Rose Oracle. This is one of my favorites. It is my favorite because it's very much divine feminine energy. And I chose this because I think honoring ourselves, I think it's related to the feminine. So let's just see. I already set the intention with the cards. Oops, a whole bunch came out. Okay, so I'm just going to ask, what guidance do we most need going into the new era for honoring ourselves? What do we most need to know about honoring ourselves in the new era ahead? Okay. That one. Oh, two cards just came out. Okay. The Rose Garden, innocence, forgiveness, be gentle with yourself. So I think there's a forgiveness. You're hard on yourself or you're blaming yourself for something. And if you listen to the podcast episode, I recommend you do, because this is accompanying that. This is just like a little bonus for the members of the Truer School based on that episode. It was about the era of dishonoring yourself and betraying yourself is done. You're ready to move into the era of honoring yourself. And so in order to do that, I feel like there's been some kind of shame or guilt, which is so common that we're all carrying in different degrees. But there's some shame and guilt that you've been carrying about some belief about yourself. Like, I'm not worthy because, well, I don't need to go into all the examples. Think about that for yourself. But the guidance here is to be gentle with yourself and forgive yourself. So this has a lot to do with self-compassion. I really love self-compassion. That was something that really helped me get through a tough time in my life. And I really recommend the workbook. I think it's called the Mindful Self-Compassion Workbook by Dr. Kristen Neff and someone else. She had a co-author. But if you're finding it hard to have self-compassion, that is a really good workbook, because you're learning and then you're applying it in the little exercises, and then you're learning and then you're applying it, each chapter. And there's different resources there too. So I really recommend focusing on self-compassion as you move forward into the new era of honoring yourself. Okay. Oh, this is perfect. The second card that came out, Morning Dew, clarity, a fresh start, a positive outlook. And I've read this card before, and I know in the booklet it talks about how in ancient times it was believed that the morning dew that collects onto plants in the morning is like the earth's essence of like freshness, and it only happens in the morning. So it's like the new day. It's like the new encapsulated, the energy of the new encapsulated in water. So this has to do with honoring yourself. I'm just going to connect to the message here more. How is this related to our question? I'm being shown this has a lot to do with the beliefs that we talked about in the episode. The pattern of dishonoring yourself had a lot to do with the belief you're holding about yourself. And I'm being shown that for this message, moving forward, you need to be more vigilant about what you're believing. And can you hold the belief that it's all going to work out? Can you hold the belief that positive outcomes are coming? If you're believing that it's going to be hard, or if you're believing that it's never going to happen, or if you're believing that I don't know how and I'm incapable, of like creating the life you want, then that's true. Your beliefs are your truth. So if you can shift that, be more clear minded by saying, I'm not going to hold those beliefs anymore. I'm going to hold the belief that the positive outcomes that you're desiring in your life, that's possible for you. That or something better. I've heard this phrase before from, I think it was Deepak Chopra. He has a way of manifesting, or a way of thinking about co-creating the life that you want. And he says that or something better. That's sort of a way of being surrendered. So instead of saying, this is the only outcome I want, like I need to get into this school, or I need to have that relationship, that's the only one for me, or I need to have that career, and if that career doesn't work out, I'm a failure. Well, it's like your human mind thinks that, but your soul sees the whole picture, the full picture of your life and your life plan, and the learning you're going through, and the purpose of your life. So if you can say, okay, I think this is the outcome I'd like, this or something better, that's a way of being a little bit more, instead of clinging on to what you want, it's being more like open to receive with an open hand. Like, okay, I'm open to receive that or something better, something that is more aligned. And I always like to say certain prayers that I really love. The author Tosha Silver, if you haven't looked her up, her book Outrageous Openness is so good, and it really changed my life too. So I'm having a couple of book recommendations here: the Mindful Self-Compassion Workbook and the book Outrageous Openness by Tosha Silver. She has beautiful ways of phrasing these prayers or mantras that you can say that's helping you. It's kind of like you're attuning to what's meant for you and calling in the highest outcomes instead of calling in a specific one outcome that might not even be right for you. You know what I mean? So I recommend that book if this is something that strikes you, that you're ready to work on. Creating a fresh start, creating a positive outlook. A positive outlook, as it says in the card, is like how you're seeing it, how you're thinking about it, how you believe it. So this has a lot to do with your beliefs. So just be mindful of that. And I'm going to post the pictures of the booklet here too, so you can see what the booklet says about these messages. And just keeping in mind that this is guidance for honoring yourself better in 2026, or in the next era for you. All right. Thank you for joining me. Comment below what is striking you, what is resonating with you, what insights have come up from this reading. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Bye.